Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be going through a Google SketchUp for Schools tutorial on a U-block assembly. And so you can see here we have several different pieces that we're going to be designing. We have two of these structural pieces. We have a block assembly, and then we have 4 pins. This is the assembly. This is how it looks when it is fully assembled. Now, when we scroll in here, you can see that we have all of our measurements that we need. And so you can tell that we're in inches because here it says inches and CI. And so that is what we're going to be using. We're going to be using inches in decimal form. So the first thing we need to do is go over here to our home. We're going to create new. So select decimal inches and then create new. Once you've created new, you're going to go ahead and select her and delete it. We're going to scroll in a little bit. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to save it. And so we're going to save it as U-block assembly project. And so when we come over here, we're going to select our folders. We're going to come down here. We're going to name this U-block assembly project. Hit save. And now what we're going to do is we're going to import our reference drawing. And so we come over here to our Google Drive. And now the reference drawing is in YouTube. So if you look at the description, you can access the reference drawing from YouTube. And when you do that, you're going to be putting it into your reference images folder. And so I'm going to import this U-block assembly. I'm going to make it an image. I'm going to just put it here in the corner. Scroll it out to the size that I want, which is right about here. I'm going to rotate around till I see on this side, and now I'm just going to rotate this entire piece so that way I can watch it. Now I'm on the blue plane right now. I want to hit the right arrow key. I can be on the red plane, rotate my piece around. All right, so this is going to be our reference image that we're going to use. I'm going to place this right here, and then we're going to scroll in and look at our different dimensions that we have. So the first piece that we're going to be drawing is this structural piece right here. And you can see that the base design is 3.54 inches by 3.54 inches. The thickness is 0.98 inches. Once we draw that, then we're going to be drawing these two images right here. And how we're going to do that is we're going to measure with our measurement tool 0.79 inches over, put a mark, and then from that mark, we're going to draw a square that is 1.97 inches by 0.59 inches. Once we do that, we're going to pull it up 3.35 inches. Okay, and so now I'm going to scroll out a little bit, and I'm going to start with my rectangle tool. And so right here on the base right here, I'm going to draw my first rectangle, and it's going to be 3.54. And there's no reason to put inches here because we're in decimal inches. So it's only going to be inches anyway, comma 3.54. You can notice down here I didn't have to put inches because everything is in inches. When I hit enter, it's going to make that square. Now the next piece that we're pulling up is we're going to pull this up by 0.98. And then we're going to come onto the side here, and using my measurement tool, I'm going to measure from the corner, and I'm going to measure over 0.79. Hit enter. It's going to give me that measurement. Go back to my rectangle tool. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the top. I'm going to get on my reference point here, and using my square tool, I'm going to make sure I'm on the blue axis. So I'm going to hit the up arrow key, and then I'm going to draw on the top here. Draw a rectangle that is 0.59, comma 1.97. And so this is going to be the dimension. If I look back over here onto my reference image, this is going to be the dimension of this piece right here. So 1.97 is the total width, and then this width right here is 0.59. And so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to get my measurement tool. I'm going to mark over 0.79 inches. Give me my reference. And then using my rectangle tool again, from that reference point on the top, I'm going to type in 0.59, comma 1.97. The next thing that we have to do is from our image, we have to pull these up. And so our height is 3.35. So we're going to go to our push-pull tool. We're going to pull this up 3.35. Enter. Do the same thing on the other side. Hit enter. Next thing we're doing is we're going to be drawing this circle right here. And so this diameter is 0.79. So our radius is going to be 0.395. And you can see that the distance from the top or the distance from the bottom is 3.54 to the center. So I'm going to come over here. You're going to get your tape measure tool, and then from the center, you're going to make sure that you see this blue line, and you're going to have 3.54. Hit enter. That's going to give you the reference image on how to draw your circle. So you're going to go to your circle tool, rectangle, circle. Make sure you're in the center point. And remember, our radius is half of the diameter, so it's going to be 0.395. Hit enter. Now, if you hit E on your keyboard, that adds your eraser, and you can erase this line right here. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to make sure that you have your tape measure tool from the center point. You're going to measure up. Make sure it shows that blue axis. You're going to type in 3.54. Gives you that reference, circle tool, center, and then we're doing the radius again of 0.395. Hit enter. That's the E on the keyboard for that erase, and now we're there. Okay, so the next thing we have to do, and the last thing we have to do for this piece, is we have to delete out our center areas. And so we're just going to hit our push-pull tool, and we're going to push them out to the edge, and now we have our first piece complete. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to hit your select tool. You're going to select that entire piece, right click, make a component. We're just going to leave it as component 1, and then we're hit OK. And so now we need 2 of these. So when we scroll in here, you see that we need for the block demo, which is this block right here, we need 2. And so we're going to hit Control and hit our move tool. Now, as you are selected the move tool, you're going to scroll over to make sure that you have your piece selected, hit Control. You can see the little plus symbol, and then you're just going to copy that piece. Now you can see that this piece needs to be rotated, and it's going to be coming down the center of this second piece right here. So you can see the rotation that we need to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is come onto the side right here. I'm going to go to my rotate tool, and I'm going to rotate that turning this direction. I'm going to go from the top, and then on the blue axis, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to rotate it around. Okay, so now we have completed the rotation that we need, and I'm just going to bring it up here to place it in preparation for the assembly. Okay, because the next piece that we're going to make is this block right here. This is the block that we're going to make. And so when we scroll in here and look at the measurements, this block is pretty simple, but it does have some complexity to it. So these pieces right here, you can see that the thickness of those edges right here is going to be the same thickness as this edge right here. So it's going to be 0.59 inches. That's how much we're going to be pushing those holes in. The entire piece is going to be 1.97 square. So it's going to be 1.97 all the way around. And then these diameters of the hole are the same diameter as this. So it's going to be 0.395. And we're going to need to make 4 of those holes. And those holes are going to be 0.98 inches in and then centered up. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and start that. So again, go over to your rectangle tool. And here on the base, we're just going to draw our square. And again, this is 1.97, comma, 1.97. It is square. And then we're pulling it up 1.97. So now we're going to scroll in a little bit to get a better view. And then once you're zoomed in, what you're going to do is we're going to draw our holes. And so remember, our holes are going to be centered here on the face. So we're going to go here, over here to our circle tool. And so if you drag your cursor over the shape, you can see that it adds a midpoint. So you're going to go here to the center, and then you're going to go up to the center midpoint here. And then when you do both, it brings you to the center point of the piece. And so we're going to go ahead and draw our circle on the face. It's going to be 0.395. Enter. And then we're going to do that on all the sides, right? So we're going to go from center point or midpoint over here to the center, and then from midpoint here down to the center. And when you bring it down to the middle, it gives you that center piece, right? So again, 0.395. We're going to do that on all four sides. So go ahead and rotate around, midpoint, midpoint, draw your circle, 0.395, hit enter. And then the last side here, you might have to scroll in a little bit. So midpoint, midpoint, and then you see where the center point is, 0.395. And hit enter. Okay, so now we're going to go to our push-pull tool, and we're going to push this in 0.59. Hit enter. Push this in 0.59. This one, 0.59. And then rotate all the way around. And our last one is, again, 0.59. Now to delete those faces on the inside, we're going to just simply click on them and then hit our delete key on our keyboard. And so this is going to delete that center piece, but it still gives us our thickness. Our overall thickness is still going to be there. Okay, and so now we have our pieces. They should be even. So as you scroll over, make sure they look like they're lined up. Okay, and so this piece right here, we are going to select it and we're going to make that into a component. So triple click, make a component, be component 2. And now we have one last piece that we have to make, and we have to make 4 of them. Okay, and so this one is going to be, it's going to be a diameter of 0.39 or a diameter of 0.79, which will be a radius of 0.395, and it's going to be 1.18 inches tall. And these are our pins, and we're going to have 4 of them. So on the floor here, I'm just going to do 0.395. Using the push-pull, I'm going to pull that up 1.18. And then I'm going to select that and then make that into component number 3. And then before I make a copy of those, I'm actually going to do the rotation. So I'm going to bring this over, hit my rotate tool. Now I need to be on the red axis, so I'm going to hit the right arrow key, click on it once, click on it again to rotate. Okay. So I'm going to be on the right arrow key, click on it once, rotate, click on it again to rotate it to that 90 degrees that we want. Okay, and so this is going to be, I need 2 of them that will be facing this direction. So I'm going to make a copy of that. So go ahead and hit your move tool and then hit your control key. You see the plus sign, and then move that over. And then you need 2 that are going to be the opposite direction going into this holes right here. Let's go ahead and hit your move tool, hit control, make a copy, and then we're going to rotate this one to make the 2 pieces that will be going into this hole. So go ahead and hit your rotate. You make sure you're on the blue axis, so hit the up arrow key, rotate to that 90 degrees, select, move, control, and then we have our last piece. Okay, so these are all the pieces that we are going to need for the assembly. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start assembling. So you can see the assembly goes right here. So we're going to put this piece here in the middle, and then we're going to bring this piece down, and then we're going to move our pins into place. So the first piece we need to move is here. And so I'm going to grab an edge, I'm going to bring it up, grab this front edge till it lines up here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to line up the hole with the hole on the inside. And so when I bring this over, I'm going to bring it up for the blue axis. And then looking at it from here, I'm going to try to line it up coming into this hole right here, and then just move it over to the middle. Okay, so that's lined up there. Now I'm going to bring this piece down, so I'm going to select this piece, and again go onto my move, and I'm just bringing it down until, again, I'm going to try to line up the holes here. And sometimes this is a little bit tricky. There it goes. Okay, so all my holes are lined up. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over because it is there we go. Okay, so that last thing that we got to do is add our pins. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the front pins here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this pin right here, move it into place, and then once I get it into place, I'm going to go with this bottom right here, and I'm going to try to push it into place right here. And then once I have that, scroll in a little bit, grab it from the edge, and then lock it into place. Boom. Okay, so there's the front pin. I'm going to lock that into place, so it should be going through. There it is. Okay. I'm going to grab the next pin, which is going to be this pin right here. Again, move it over here to the back. Scroll in from the edge, bring it over, and then try to line it up. And then from the edge, this interior edge, I'm going to try to push it in place there. Now you shouldn't have this little overlap here, so what you're going to have to do is just go to where the end point is and then just connect it in with the edge. And then once you click it in, hit select, and then you're locked in. All right, so last pieces that we have are our side pins. And so same process, right? Just come up here. Make sure when you select it, you're not rotating it. Bring it up. And then from the end, not the edge, from the end, you're just going to bring it in and then try to get it to lock in with those edges there. And last one is over here. All right. So that's it, guys. We have our assembly complete. Now the last thing we have to do for this is just color it, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this a metal color. So I'm going to go over here to my paint bucket. Because all of these are components, all you have to do is click on one each. And so I'm going to select this shiny metal right here. And I'm just going to click on each singular piece, making sure that they're all colored. So let's go up here to save. Now the last thing we're going to do now that we have the assembly complete is we're going to select this. Go ahead and go over here to the move, hit control, make a copy, put it right next to it, and then You can start putting it into just pull these out. Just showing all the different pieces that we have. And so as you noticed, we did have one piece that did not get colored. Okay. So assembly complete, project complete. Save one more time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this assembly project. You can use SketchUp any drawing that you want. It just takes a little bit of time to look at different measurements and come up with how you want to draw it. But remember, SketchUp is all about shapes. So it's all going to be squares, rectangles, circles, triangles, polygons. If you guys have questions, please talk to your instructor. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.